Hi, everyone. This is the One Question Series. It's Saturday, July 4th, 2026. Dr. Yafabe, you have a bone of contention with the DEI narrative. Can you explain what your concerns are with it?
Oh, for crying out loud. Huh, that has been a bone of contention with me for a while now. And I'm going to have to elaborate on why. The first of all, the biggest problem I have with the DEI, you don't qualify narrative, is that everyone leaves off the A. And I was shocked and stunned when I talked to someone not too long ago, and they were like, I didn't even know there was an A. I'm like, oh my gosh, I thought everybody knew there was an A. So maybe no one knows there is an A, and there's a reason why. If you made it evident to everyone that there's an A in DEI, they wouldn't have been able to push the DEI, you don't qualify. DEI, you just got it because of your color. DEI, you just got it because of your gender or because of your race, and you guys shouldn't be here because you don't qualify. It's DEIA. That is the correct terminology. DEIA. Diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. Why do I have a problem with the accessibility being left out? My stepfather, my youngest sister's father, he was paralyzed from the waist down. And he single handedly fought the fight with San Francisco, California to get accessibility put up to make his life easier. He was in a wheelchair. It's no fun if you're in a wheelchair and you're trying to get from point A to point B in your wheelchair and you hit a curb and there's no ramp, there's no slope for you to go down. You can't move from the waist down. So what do? You got to roll around and go all out of your way to try to find a driveway to get, halfway down the block to get back. He single-handedly got San Francisco to start leveling the curbs at the crosswalks so that people like him in a wheelchair who need accessibility can get from point A to point B, especially in his case. I don't even think they had electric wheelchairs back then. He was pushing this thing by hand with his arms. So to go all out of your way to find a way to get off the curb so that you don't fall, because what, you're gonna lay there in the road and hope somebody picks you up because you fell over? And some people are so racial, they're not gonna help you just because you're melanin rich. It's not fair. It's not fair. DEIA was to make employment and schooling and housing diverse across communities and across ethnographies. It was to make things diverse, you know, men, women, multicultural. The planet is multicultural, for crying out loud. I'm just saying. If you go to a garden, you don't want to see only white flowers in the garden. It's like, oh, look at the pretty, white lilies over here. And oh, look at the, purple whatever. And here's some this, that, and the other. You got purple flowers, pink flowers, yellow flowers, blue flowers. It depends on where you are. That is what nature created. You have multiple colors of birds. And then you got these ignorant people that feel like everything should only be white and male. No, that is not what Creator created. Most High Creator of all things made everything across the board. There are multiple different colors of the rainbow spectrum around the world, and it was made that way. Even though Creator's like, yo, there's many mansions, I put everybody in their own mansion in their own corner of the world to stay there. Interact, yes, but don't invade. Now we're dealing with everybody invading, especially up in here, telling the people who they found here to go to Africa. But back to the narrative. That diversity is to make it in more diversity is to spread the look. Equity is to make everything a little bit more equal in opportunity. Yeah, you're going to still pay certain people more money than others. Yeah, but you are making it a little more equitable by even letting other people in the door, giving other people an opportunity, which is inclusive, to include as many people as possible to make the whole of America good or great. Because if the country is only as strong as its weakest link, so you have to try to make all of the links strong to make the whole country strong. That's something the people at the top don't comprehend or don't care about, unless they comprehend it and they're deliberately and intentionally attempting to destroy mainland USA, which may be the ultimate objective. It probably is the case. Okay. Then the accessibility, the DEIA, accessibility. There are people that want to work, but some people were born with disabilities. Some people were born with no legs. Some people were born blind. Some people were born sighted and lost their eyesight at some point. But they qualified for whatever it was they were doing. They were good at their job. They had an accident or an incident or an occurrence. They lost their ability to see. It doesn't mean they've lost their ability to do something. It doesn't mean that they've lost their drive for wanting to work. Some people are born unable to hear, but it doesn't mean they don't want to work. You got people that are paralyzed from the waist down, paraplegic. You got people that are paralyzed from the neck down, quadriplegic. They still want to work, even if they have to take the pen and poke the keyboards with the pen in their mouth like a goddamn bird. They still want to work. So accessibility, you got some people that they get a certain age. Just because they're older doesn't mean they don't want to work. They still want access, but a lot of people, well, you're too old for the job. We're sorry. You don't qualify because you're too old. You don't qualify because you're blind. You don't qualify because you're in a wheelchair. We don't have a way for you to get in and out. Well, you need to make a way for me to get in and out. That is the accessibility part that they leave out of DEI. And in all fairness to people like my stepfather, okay, he wanted to work. How dare you leave off the accessibility part, which is a slap in the face to everyone that requires the accessibility part of DEI because they're paralyzed or because they're old or because they're blind or because they can't hear or because they can't speak or whatever, whatever the case is, because they're in a wheelchair. It doesn't mean they don't want accessibility to employment. It doesn't mean they don't want to work. And if you had made it clear that it was DEI accessibility, DEIA, you wouldn't have been able to push that race card the way you pushed it, particularly since it is statistically known, and I have the statistics somewhere because I was going to do a whole video on it, and my laptop is not with me right now. I'm house sitting for a friend, but white women were the #1 beneficiaries of DEIA and affirmative action, followed by the Asian community, followed by the Indian community from India, not Native Americans, but people here from India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, followed by the Latino community, followed by veterans, which is the white men, followed by LGBTQ, which is also including a lot of white men, also followed by disabled community, which is also some white men. You got people that were in the military, because my stepfather that was paralyzed from the waist down, ex-Marine. He's an ex-Marine. And yes, he took on San Francisco and he made them start leveling sidewalks so he could get up and down ramps to make things accessible for him to get in and out of places. Then the disabled people are followed by the Native American community, who is followed by black foreigners, blacks from the Caribbean, blacks from Africa, blacks from the UK. And guess who was at the absolute bottom of affirmative action in DEI? The black Americans. Everybody else was on top of us, but they made us the face of the beneficiaries when we were at the bottom of the beneficiary list for DEIA, diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, and the face of affirmative action. When we fought for everything, but everybody else benefited. That's one of the reasons why they brought all these people in, talking about, oh, minorities, minorities, minorities. They did that on purpose. They brought all these other people in from around the world just to destroy our efforts. People say, oh, we fought for everybody. No, we didn't. No, we did not. We fought for our people. And we fought for our Haitian brothers. And we fought for the people that I said, we stood up with the women's liberals. We stood up with the Native Americans. We stood up for the Chinese. We stood up for the Japanese. We stood up for the farm workers. Yeah, we did that. We stood up for the people we fought for were the Haitians. We were watching all these people come into this country, and our people would watch our people coming. We knew these were our people. We were watching our people coming over here from Haiti, and we watched how these people would turn them around. They would not let their boats on. They would not let their boats land. They were turning those people around. Talking about go back to Haiti. Our people said, wait a minute, hold up, homie. What do you mean? They can't come here. Everybody else is coming here. But now we got a bunch of people here from Haiti that can't stand our guts. And a lot of our people are upset about it. First, we got our feelings hurt. And then we got angry. And then we don't give a fuck. Excuse my language. We don't give a flip. Heck with all y'all. This ain't our fight, not our problem. None of y'all are our people. None of y'all are our problem. Y'all don't like us. We're not fighting for people that don't like us. Hold your own nuts, fight your own fight. Now we are getting so attacked, we have come to the realization that we are at war. We didn't know that before. We knew we were at war with the dominant culture, so-called white folks in America. We knew that. But there's a long-standing abusive relationship going on between us and them. We've been dealing with them for some generations. We understand them. They understand us. We know how to deal with them. They don't know how to deal with us. But they started losing control of how to deal with us. So they started bringing in all these other people and making sure that they hate us too. And that is, for lack of better words, a betrayal. We're feeling betrayed right now. And we are watching everybody pull out they're pulling out their fangs, their fists, their claws, they're showing us our behinds, they're swinging their swords at us, and we like, okay, what a betrayal from the so-called people of color and the so-called marginalized communities and the so-called Black and Brown coalition and the so-called minorities and the so-called women. It's like, huh, a lot of our people don't even know what we did to make everybody hate us. I know. I don't say much, but I know. However, when it's all said and done, we have come to the realization that we are surrounded by enemies in our own ancestral homeland that has been invaded by everybody that wants us dead or gone to Africa. And we're like, since that's how everybody feels, we get the memo, fine. Y'all do y'all, we'll do us, leave us alone. You don't have to like us, just leave us alone. Same thing our ancestors were saying. Leave us alone. Our ancestors were telling the first and second and third wave of pilgrims that. Can y'all just leave us alone? There's plenty of room to go around. There's plenty of space out here. Go be somewhere and leave us alone. To this day, the descendants of the people that were found here are still saying, can all y'all just leave us alone? Just leave us alone. But no, when it's all said and done, the DEI is a lie because it was DEIA, diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, which is all of those individuals that need access because of some form of disability, whether they were born with the disability or it happened to them later in life in the military or an auto accident or industrial accident or whatever the case may be, but they still wanted to work. So when you flip and overturn DEI, talking about, oh, black people are getting it because they're black and don't qualify, which is a lie. Not only do we qualify for what we fought for to get it put up in the first place, we were at the bottom of the beneficiary list, even under black immigrants or melanin rich immigrants, because we're not black, be-lack. We don't be-lack anything, but, for whatever reason, people keep calling us black, which is a legal disadvantage in my personal observation. We shouldn't call ourselves black anything because that is a legal disadvantage. However, our people qualify. I'm going to say it again. I'm almost 70 years old. I was raised, and every melanin rich person I know across the country that's in my age bracket was raised. You are melanin rich, or you're melanin rich brother, melanin rich sister. You have to be 10 times as good as everybody else in order to get half the chance to make a fraction of the pay. We were all raised knowing that. We were all raised knowing that. So to say we don't qualify is a lie. To call it DEI and not DEIA is also a bald faced lie that slaps my stepfather in the face, who fought for wheelchair accessibility for everybody in San Francisco to get wheelchair access. And on that note, thank you for joining. Share the information. Thumbs up, like, subscribe, share the video, whichever. And thank you for hearing me out. Have a fabulous day.